My mother-in-law distributed failing report cards to her 3 daughters-in-law during our annual summer lake retreat, so we decided to present her with a final evaluation of our own. It was the 4th of July at a rented cabin in Lake Tahoe, and the afternoon sun was beating down fiercely on the wooden deck. All 3 brothers were sitting around the patio table with us wives, eating potato salad and waiting for the local fireworks display. Constance clinked her frosted lemonade glass with a metal spoon to get our attention and pulled out 3 thick, professionally bound manila folders from her designer tote bag. She announced, "I've spent the last 6 months compiling comprehensive audits on the women managing my son's lives. Hold your objections until I am entirely finished." She slid the first folder across the cedar table toward me. "Exhibit A," she said coldly. "You lied about your job transfer. You claimed it was mandatory, but I know you actively requested the Seattle office just to take my boy 850 miles away from his real family." I stammered, asking how she knew about confidential internal HR requests. Constance smirked. "You should remind my son to log out of his Gmail account on the Den desktop. I read the draft you forced him to write." My husband stared down at his boots, looking terrified. Constance tossed the second folder at my sister-in-law. "Greer, Exhibit B. You claim you're working late at your accounting firm, but you're just neglecting your duties as a mother." Constance pulled out a printed spreadsheet, heavily color-coded. "Between March 12th and June 30th, you arrived home after 8:15 p.m. exactly 41 times. Out of those nights, you ordered a $65 sushi delivery on 12 occasions instead of cooking a proper meal." Greer's face flushed dark red. "Are you stalking my house?" Constance rolled her eyes. "I pay for the premium subscription on your Ring doorbell camera. You gave me the master password when you went to Cancun. Somebody has to make sure those kids aren't starving." Constance folded her hands primly. "I'm also fully aware you 3 have a WhatsApp thread called Witches of Eastwick where you constantly mock my Sunday dinners." The entire deck went dead silent. A boat horn echoed in the distance. Constance turned to the youngest wife, Faye, and smiled softly. "And then there is Faye, the only one who understands that a mother's guidance is absolute." Faye sat perfectly still, staring blankly ahead. I pushed my heavy chair back, the wood scraping loudly. "Okay, if we're doing audits, it's our turn to present some findings." Constance snapped, "Sit down. Don't you dare ruin this weekend." But I was already pulling out my phone. First finding. 2 weeks ago, you called my corporate HR department at 9:00 a.m., pretending to be a loan officer. You tried to find out my exact salary because you didn't believe my husband when he said we couldn't afford a $15,000 down payment for your new RV. Greer stood up next, her voice shaking with rage. Second finding. When you volunteered to babysit last Christmas, you secretly took my 6-year-old daughter to a pediatric dietitian because you decided she looked pudgy in her ballet photos. And you explicitly instructed the clinic not to send the invoice to our house so my husband wouldn't find out." Constance scoffed, crossing her arms defensively. "I am protecting my family's legacy. I kept this family afloat after their father walked out 20 years ago with a mountain of debt, and this is the absolute disrespect I get?" She looked desperately at Faye. "Tell them, Faye. Tell them how I've supported you." Faye slowly stood up. She looked completely hollowed out. "The best thing you ever did for me, Constance, was accidentally leave your iPad unlocked on my counter last Tuesday." Constance's confident posture vanished instantly. Faye pulled a folded paper from her pocket. "I was looking for a recipe, but your email was left open. I found the emails between you and the Portland real estate agent." Faye's voice broke, but she forced the words out loudly. "We lost the bid on our dream house last month because the seller pulled out. My husband was absolutely devastated. He thought we were finally getting a fresh start, but the seller didn't pull out. You emailed them posing as my husband, saying our financing fell through and canceling our offer. You destroyed our future, just so we'd be forced to renew our apartment lease 2 blocks away from you." The lemonade pitcher sweated onto the tablecloth. Nobody moved. Constance opened her mouth, but the heavy silence on the deck swallowed whatever excuse she was about to make. Full story on the channel, link below.